Okay, guys, you can chill now, okay? It's here. It's here. Okay, we're going to talk about it. I told you we were going to talk about it. I said over and over again, we're going to talk about this album. But yeah, you can chill now. You can stop leaving me thousands of comments on my social medias and on other videos. Just, guys, we're talking about it now, okay? See? I wouldn't leave a Weezer album off my repertoire. You should know that by now. So chill, okay? We good? Okay. I do want to say one quick thing before we get started, though. As far as these unscripted reviews go, guys, like, this is going to be the last one that's really rambly and really long and stretched out and drawn out. Like, I'm still going to be doing unscripted reviews, but for the next time I'm going to tweak the format a little bit so we've got a bit more structure, a bit better flow, a bit better pacing. Next time you see an unscripted, it'll be a lot more streamlined. But I've learned one thing from doing videos these past nearly 4 years now. When it comes to Weezer, at least, you guys are willing to sit and just let me talk. So, for what'll hopefully be the last time, at least with these unscripted reviews, we're just gonna go off. We're gonna talk about this album. And I do have things to say, so let's make like Led Zeppelin and ramble on. Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, this makes album number 10 for Weezer, which, after Everything Will Be Alright in the End, I'm almost kind of surprised to see, frankly. I mean, after Everything Will Be Alright in the End, I almost... God, I hate to say this, but I almost kind of expected Weezer to break up. I mean, I didn't want it to happen, but man, that album was just so good. Like, I said as much in my hour-long review of it, but, you know, even today, it still does hold up that well. I would still consider this one of Weezer's best works. I'd put it about third on my personal list, and yeah, time hasn't soured it either. It still holds up really, really damn well. But that also presents Weezer with a brand new problem in making another album after this. What the fuck do you do? See, I was kind of worried about this album. Because, yeah, that's a really hard task, no matter who you are, to top an album that was that good, to, you know, make your big, triumphant return to form, and yeah, you're back on top, and everybody loves you again, and yeah, now what the fuck do we do? You know, it ain't easy. It's not an easy spot to be in. And for that reason, I did have legitimate concerns with this, because I kind of knew right from the get-go that no matter what they released, chances were good that it just wasn't going to be as good as Ubate. It's the same position a lot of rock bands kind of found themselves in. I mean, how was Guns N' Roses supposed to follow up Appetite for Destruction? How was Queen supposed to follow up Night at the Opera? It's, you know, when you make something that good, well, it's the old movie formula rule, you know? The sequel's never as good. But like in films, there are exceptions to that rule. So it's... and Weezer has proven that they've got the chops to do it. So does this album live up to those expectations? Does it surpass what we were hoping for? Or does it kind of fall flat? Well, I can say that it starts off very lovely. California Kids is a pretty decent opening track. It gives us a nice feel for how the album's going to sound. It gives us a nice sort of introductory chorus. It's got very lovely chimes, some nice synth work, some nice, like, drawn-out guitar, and Rivers, the way his oohs and ahs are kind of layered in this track, really remind me of something like very Beach Boys-esque, something very chill, something with a very beachy sort of vibe. And given that, you know, Rivers has pretty much gone flat out on record and said that this album has a big beachy vibe and is directly inspired by the Beach Boys, I saw that pretty much right from the get-go. The lyrics are very encouraging, and, you know, the overall tone and feel of the song is simplistic, but still pretty catchy, still pretty enjoyable. Maybe a touch too simplistic, but I guess that's just weathered to taste. I really enjoyed it, and I thought the album opens not strong, but it gives you a very proficient idea as to what this album's sort of goals are, as to the feeling that it's trying to implant into you. It gives you a sense of the vibe straight away, and I can dig what this album's doing. And that vibe continues on into Wind in Our Sails. Again, a very relaxed vibe, a very chill sort of atmosphere, a nice piano, very simple sort of piano chords holding the whole structure together. Again, we see a lot of that Beach Boys, that sort of California, early 60s sort of surf rock sort of vibe going on. And you know, I rather enjoyed it. It does give off that very relaxed, very just nonchalance, not taking itself too seriously. You know, it feels like a summer vacation kind of album, you know? It starts off with a very cool, relaxing, just mellow kind of vibe that you settle into, and you just really kind of go with the flow. You kind of, you know, just let yourself kind of dead float into the waves and let it kind of carry you where it's going. And it gives off just a very chill and relaxed vibe at first. And then Thank God for Girls happens in the third track. Oh, God, why did they do this? You know, in my original vlog review, my first impression sort of video on this song, I said I didn't like it. In the vlog that I posted for the second single that followed up, Do You Want to Get High, I reiterated that no, I didn't like it, and in fact it had grown kind of worse on me. Yeah, now that I've had months to listen to this song and I have a whole album to compare it to, this song is fucking garbage! This song is an absolute pace breaker. I mean, the first two tracks do such a good job setting you in a chill, mellow, relaxing mood, and then this song just hits you over the back of the head and tosses you off a fucking bridge. You were just floating in the ocean along the beach, you know, just chilling out and relaxing, but eventually some water shoots up your nose and you wake up in a stutter and you find out you floated 50 miles out to sea and there's sharks circling you, and for some reason the sharks have boners, and it's like a good dream turning into a nightmare. And it's not like the album actually plays up on this or builds off of that. This song just, nothing else sounds like this song, nothing else feels like this song. Thank God. It just pops up in the middle of nowhere, leaves its unpleasantness in the middle of everybody's fun, and then just floats there in the middle while everyone's evacuated the pool. The song is kind of like the Baby Ruth scene in Caddyshack. It just... ruins the fun for everybody. And the thing is, all of my original complaints with the song, when compared to the rest of the album, just exacerbated even worse. The construction of the song is just so shambled and just not connected well. The lyrical structure and delivery is completely fucked. It sounds like Rivers is making this shit up as he goes along, and it's all just creepy and weird, and like, I did some research and found that this song was apparently written because of Rivers' experiences on Tinder, partially? Which, okay, A, dude, come on, you're married. What are you doing? For real? And B, well, I'm a single guy. I tried Tinder once, just for shits and giggles. No, I'm not proud of it, shut up. But, yeah, my experiences with it, if I were to write a song about that, I would not put that song on an album that's chilled and relaxed and takes a lot from the motherfucking Beach Boys. This... why? Why? For the love of God, why? I could go on and on about this song, and I mean, if you want to see me go on and on about this song, that video already exists, but really, the thing I hate most about this song is that, yeah, it's a big turd in the punch bowl considering the rest of this album. This thing does not belong here. And the thing that's the most tragic about it, though, is that in order for this song to exist on this album, I am 100% certain that something good, something that is actually very enjoyable, a song that we all would have liked, got left on the cutting room floor. Like, some genuinely good song got relegated to a B-side so that this fucking claptrap could be on this otherwise pretty damn good album. See, that's the thing. Weezer has some of the best B-sides in this business. Like, listen to the B-sides from even their bad albums. Like Red has some of the best B-sides I've ever heard from a band. Check out, like, the stuff that ends up on River's solo albums, or, like, Death to False Metal, that's a B-sides album. Like, Weezer has terrific B-sides. A lot of which, it's a shame they don't end up on proper albums, you know? The thing is, I know that for Thank God for Girls to be on this album, a potential Michael and Carly, or Suzanne, or King got left off of this album. Thank God for my fucking ass. And look, even if this thing is supposed to be like an elaborate metaphor, or a stream of consciousness experiment, or a stupid jokey thing that I'm not supposed to be taking seriously. Here's my 4,500 word all caps comment as to why you are wrong and you are a stupid. Regardless of what this song is supposed to be, it still fails hard. It's so sloppily constructed. River's weird vocal delivery and just the way everything in the song is just crammed into where it barely fits. It's not a well-written song. In fact, I'd say this is one of the, I won't say worst Weezer songs ever written necessarily. I mean, this isn't as bad as shit like Beverly Hills or Can't Stop Partying. I mean, really the instrumentation saves it there. There's the germ of a good song in here, but man, just the vocals and the song construction and the lyrics just put two barrels behind this song's head and splatter it across the wall. Yeah, that song is just a fucking dumpster fire, but thank God Girl We Got a Good Thing came on immediately afterwards, because, yeah, that song snaps us back into place, you know? It puts us right back where we need to be with a, you know, a very croony, very strung out sort of guitar vibes, like a more solid piano work. Girl We Got a Good Thing is a very kind of lovey-dovey sort of song, you know? It's, again, it reminds me hugely of the Beach Boys, and it's, you know, it's good to see. I was really, really feeling it. It's like, there's even a sort of, the solo has kind of a Thin Lizzy sort of vibe. I was getting like a Dancing in the Moonlight sort of feel off of it. Yeah, you know, sort of the rare sort of ballads that Lizzy would do. Like, I got kind of a vibe off of that. And it's, again, we get back into chilled out, 60s sort of laid back vibe again, and all is right with the world. Putting this song right next to Thank God for Girls, you kind of almost get tonal whiplash from it, you know? It's, like, a little odd, but, you know, it's still a great damn song on its own, and, yeah, it puts us back in that relaxed, chilled out, just very nice vibe. It's something you would listen to just relax. Something that, you know, if you've had a long day, this is something that you would listen to just kind of chill out, to kind of bring yourself back down to level, you know? But we do get, again, sort of knocked out of that vibe with Do You Want to Get High? Again, I've done a big, huge, long, rambling vlog about this song. I would say that my feelings have changed a little bit on this one. Mostly because I got it fucking wrong in my initial review. And the more I listened to the song, and after researching it a lot more thoroughly, like, yeah, this isn't a happy-go-lucky kind of song. This is actually about River's early 2000s pill addiction. Which, yeah, kind of nixes a lot of the things I said in that original vlog, I guess. So yeah, the tone of this song is, again, a bit out of place. Well, in that it feels a little dark, a little too moody for this. The song, again, kind of clashes with the overall mood they've tried to build here, but as a song, it works a lot better because it's a lot better constructed. Like, all of the verses fit together very appropriately. The chorus is very catchy and enjoyable. And, like, the guitar work is very solid. It has a great solo to go with it. Everything makes sense. Everything connects to each other fairly well. It's, you know, it's a bit of a tonal clash, but as a song on its own, it still works. See, Thank God for Girls, I'm gonna end up coming back to this point a lot, aren't I? But Thank God for Girls doesn't work on any merit. It doesn't work as a smaller piece of the whole album, and it sure as hell doesn't work on its own. But this song, even if it does clash a little bit with the album as a whole, it still works as a good song in and of itself. And again, like, all of the guitar work is nice, all of the vocals are well constructed. It's a fairly relatable message if you've ever had an addiction, so yeah, it's still a good song, and it's a song I still enjoy. The song is pretty good overall, I still enjoy it, and hey, any song that reminds me of Burt Bacharach is, you know, gonna put a smile on my face.
And River.
Shut up, Baccarat is awesome. And King of the World is another outstanding song that gets us back on track. This song has a big, stompy presence to it. Like, it's very in your face. It's got a nice, loud, punchy, insanely catchy chorus. And, like, it reminds me kind of, like, the really good songs off of Red Album or Hurley, in that sense. You know, in that when it does stand out, it stands out very, very well. And the lyrics are really good too. This is actually kind of my favorite sort of Weezer song. In fact, I kind of like songs like this in general. It's the kind of, you know, the sort of everything sucks, but, you know, we got each other, so we'll be okay kind of song. You know, we'll get out of this bullshit town or situation or whatever. Like, you know, shit like Born to Run or Come On Eileen or Trainwrecks, for that matter, you know? I mean, this is a song we know Weezer can write, and again, I like King of the World. They pull it off very effectively here. This is probably one of my favorite tracks off of the album. I wasn't as hot on Summer Elaine and Drunk Dory, truth be told. I didn't hate it. I mean, the verses and choruses are pretty catchy, and even the bridge is pretty good. Though I have to admit, they sort of sound disconnected from each other. Like the verses and chorus almost sound like they're parts of different songs that don't necessarily go together. Like, they kind of work on their own, but the song structure as a whole is a little off. I would say off. Like, not terrible, not unlistenable. It was just a song that kind of took me a bit of getting used to, truth be told. And I have no fucking idea what's going on in the lyrics. I don't know, my best guess as to what's happening in this song is Rivers is singing about his two mermaid girlfriends from high school that he had to break up with. I think? I don't know. But it's not a song that's so batshit or so just bizarre that you don't have some fun listening to it. It's okay. It's not great necessarily, but it's not a track I'd skip every time it came on. It's alright. But LA Girls comes in, and I think it kind of picks us back up again. Are you kind of noticing a theme to this album? It's kind of all over the place. We'll get to that, though. I definitely like this song, too. Truth be told, it kind of gave me a Blue Album sort of feel, you know? Like, it was fuzzy and loud, and it had that sort of 90s mid-tempo sort of jam feel to it. Like, it felt like it could have been like a Blue or like an early Pinkerton demo sort of feel to it. It was like it was the nice kind of throwback to their old sound, which I really did like. And the thing is, like, the Beach Boy influence was also still kind of in there. Like, you know, the 60s, the early 60s rock vibe was still present, but it also sort of reflected back on their, you know, much earlier period in a way that I found really enjoyable. And here the lyrics are kind of a bit of a bummer, which sort of contrasts the mood a wee bit, but not really. I mean, the Beach Boys' influence on this album is huge. You can really, really tell it. But you can tell that the influence for this song derives more from Pet Sounds than California Girls, you know? It's one of those, you know, sadder tracks that does work. Jacked Up is another good song. It's another great example of how well the pianos and keys are in this album. I have to admit, like, really, the piano work and the synths really do stand out on this album. I'd say they're probably one of its biggest strengths, its use of those sort of, you know, the way that they structure a lot of their songs around that instrument. It's done very, very well, and something I've been seeing a lot of lately. I do have to admit that Rivers' falsetto might take a little bit of getting used to here. Like, he pushes his voice to, like, an absolute limit. Like, you can pretty much hear his puberty squeak. Like, you can tell, like, his voice is, like, this close to breaking on those falsettos. But I liked it, personally. I thought it was a nice touch. It helped the song sort of stand out. I could see how other people might find it just weirdly distracting, but I dug it. Again, this is another song I really dug and I really liked. And I feel like the album closes really strong, too. Endless Bummer is an outstanding track. Like, really, I would say it's definitely the best on this album. Like, it has almost like a Pinkerton vibe to it. Again, it's nice to see Weezer recognizing their strengths. The song does a nice job of starting out slow and building in intensity, just crescendoing more and more until it ends with a really big solo at the end, and, you know, it just brings the album full circle, you know, wrapping everything up into a nice, tidy, neat little 34-minute package. Like, really, this album just kind of breezes by. If anything, it almost feels maybe a touch too short. Like this album really does not overstay its welcome. If anything, I kind of wanted a little more from it, which is always a good sign. Even despite some of its problems, like, this song definitely made me wish it wasn't over, you know? It was that song that, it's that big closing number that, you know, is so good that it makes you appreciate the album, and it makes you want to go back to track one and give it another spin, you know, just so you can feel it all over again, which, you know, that's what you want to feel out of an album. That's what you want to happen anytime you listen to an album. If that's something you can do, that's a sign you've got something pretty good on your hands. And overall, yeah, I would say we have something pretty good on our hands. Not perfect. Not perfect at all, but there's a lot to admire here. I mean, yeah, the album does have some flaws to it. I mean, did you happen to notice while I was talking about it track by track, it kind of went like, oh, hey, these songs are good, but oh, then this happened. But then these songs came along and made it okay. Oh, but then this happened. But then these songs came along and made it okay. Like, the album kind of has hills and valleys. It's a bit uneven. I wouldn't say it's like Red Album uneven. Like, it's not unbalanced necessarily, except in a few places. Thank God for girls. But it's an album that kind of has trouble establishing its tone. Like, it feels a little wonky as a whole. Like, it'll set you up for certain, certain songs will set you into certain moods, and then you'll get, like, yanked out of those moods by certain songs. Like, like you'll feel very relaxed, and then Thank God for Girls will, like, yank you out of it. And, but then you'll get back on track, and then, Do You Want to Get High comes on, and it's like, oh, really? If this were a video game, I would say it has trouble keeping its immersion. But even with its sometimes schizophrenic tone, I wouldn't say there's anything apart from Thank God for Girls. Seriously, when track 3 comes along, just pound that skip button with all you've got. But I wouldn't say there was anything else on the album that made me not enjoy the experience. Even stuff like Drunk Dory and like some of the other songs that feel like maybe they don't fit as well. I still wouldn't say they're bad songs necessarily. Maybe they just don't fit as well with the whole of the album. The album does feel like it's a bit all over the place at times, but I mean, it's something that I think most people will be able to look past. You won't love every song on this album, but you're not gonna find yourself hitting skip every 5 minutes. It's an overall enjoyable experience. It just it stumbles a wee bit in places. And it does faceplant once. I hate Thank God for Girls. And yeah, look, your 5,000 word comment isn't going to change my mind about it, homeboy. You write it if it makes you feel better, but I'm sorry, it's a garbage song that does not belong on an album that should be way more solid than this. Even despite its faults, this is an album I can totally see myself spinning again. I'll probably spin, at least the better songs on this album throughout the rest of the year. Like, hell, especially when summer rolls around. Like I said, the Beach Boys influence is pretty heavy here, and, admittedly, if 60s rock, that sort of mellow sort of vibe isn't your thing, then, this might rub you the wrong way, but, it feels appropriate in a Weezer setting, so if you like Weezer, I don't think it's something that's going to be too distracting. Though, truth be told, it's not outstanding necessarily. Like, it didn't have a lot of those wow moments. A big problem with that is when comparing it to Everything Will Be Alright in the end, where almost every song was like a whoa sort of moments. Like, this album isn't quite that beast. But again, I kind of respect them for not going that necessary direction. I mean, the thing is, if they tried to just make You Bait 2 or whatever, it wouldn't have worked, because it wouldn't have lived up to it. So they had to do something different. They had to deviate from their formula. If they would have tried to live up to this, they would have failed. But they didn't. They tried something completely different, and I'd say something a bit more unique. And it's a little hit and miss, but I'd say it's way more hit than miss, which is very respectable in and of itself. I gotta give props where they're due. But on that same note, the album is also not perfect. It is just flawed enough to keep it from being great. Like, this isn't like one of the true memorable Weezer albums. This isn't one of the all-time classics. Like, it's solid. It's a solid, nice, full-sounding, if not a little jagged in places, Weezer album. It's a nice work-a-day sort of workhorse album. It gets the job done, even if it isn't the most flashy of creatures. But I can respect that. Like, it's an album that I don't disenjoy. It has its moments that I don't enjoy, but I have certainly heard worse from this band. And I'm happy with how it turned out overall. Even if it's not the most explosive, grandiose, just cum fountain-y album ever. Oh my god, I can't stop spraying gooch. This went in a weird direction. It's a solid, respectable Weezer album that I could listen to from time to time. And that's okay. Not everything has to be a Blue or a Pinkerton. Not everything can be a Blue or a Pinkerton. But, you know, for middle-of-the-road Weezer is what I would say this album is. This album is middle-of-the-road Weezer. But for middle-of-the-road Weezer, it's pretty good. Like, on my current Weezer sort of scale that, I mean, I've gone into great detail about, this album would probably fall somewhere right between Maladroit and which would basically put it right in the middle. Which is kind of how I feel about this album, you know? It's a good sort of middle mark, you know? Like, this is Weezer still being good, if not being great, you know? It is middle-of-the-road Weezer, but it's good middle-of-the-road Weezer. If you're into Weezer, yeah, definitely pick it up. I wouldn't recommend you starting with this album necessarily, unless there's, like, a song that you really, really dig off of this album and you're just not familiar with anything else, then okay, yeah, pick this album up just to see what you think of it, but yeah, just know this is not Weezer's best. It's solid in places, it's enjoyable certainly, but it does have a few flaws, a few little imperfections and flies in the ointment to just make it, you know, this ain't their best, but it's not like lazy like Make Believe, or sacrilegious like Ratitude, or even horribly uneven like Red. It's just got its hills and valleys, you know? It's not perfect, but I can still respect it. And hey, again, following up Everything Will Be Alright in the End is not an enviable task, but all things considered, I think this went as well as it could have. I'm not disappointed. And I don't think you will be either. The White Album gets 4 Qdoba burritos out of 5. You know, because I don't think Qdoba is many people's, like, favorite restaurant, but, you know, if it comes up amongst friends, like, hey, let's go to Qdoba, you'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, I could do Qdoba, and you'd probably enjoy your meal. You know, you wouldn't love it, but you'd really probably like it. It would satisfy you. And it's time for me to end this now, because I'm rambling on for way too much. Thanks again for watching, guys, and thanks again for 5,000 subs! I'll be releasing a video here very soon related to what we're going to do for our 5,000 subscriber special. So stay tuned very soon for that. Like, you'll probably see that, like this week. Like, maybe, like, a day or two after this video comes out. Depends on when I can shoot it. But, yeah, stay tuned for that, guys. We're going to do something special, something very different for our 5,000 sub special. And, again, guys, just thanks for your support. Thank you so much for all that you've done to help us reach this point, and for all you do for the show. And, guys, thanks again. Thanks for watching. And as always, the only opinion that really matters is your own. Cheers.